Shalom Aleichem.
It's very, very exciting tonight for me to introduce to you Leo Sushansky. Has performed in esteemed concert halls worldwide as both a recitalist and a chamber musician with many orchestras, including New York Philharmonic, Romanian State Philharmonic, Philharmonia Virtuosi of New York, the Washington Metropolitan Philharmonic, Berlin Chamber Orchestra, and Aspen Chamber Orchestra. Leo Sushansky enjoyed early recognition performing Mendelssohn's Violin Concerto at the age of 12 on Marvin Hamlisch special on Showtime. He was a student at Juilliard for 7 years with Dorothy DeLay and was also coached by Isaac Stern. At the age of 15, with invitation from Zuban Mehta, he made his debut with the New York Philharmonic, where he performed Tchaikovsky Violin Concerto. In addition to all of his professional achievements, Leo is a personal friend, and I'm so glad to welcome him to this Zoom session on music and spirituality. Leo, how long do we know each other?
I'm not sure, but it's a long time, because I think I've known of you much longer, because I knew your mom through my mom, and I met you when I came to Washington, and we were able to connect and collaborate and kind of bring our musical minds together. And it's been, I don't know how many years, 15 years? Maybe?
Probably more. Seems like
18,
more than
yeah.
Seems like more than that. Richard, can we get the first picture? And we have Richard Gordon, who is helping us today. So when Leo mentioned about his mom and my mom, here they are on the picture with Leo sitting at the piano at the early age, and his mom is playing violin right there center. And my mom, who was a violin teacher of many years and achieved great heights in teaching music in Russia and United States. So they knew each other, and obviously they knew Leo. At that time, I was already in the United States, so I didn't have a chance to learn about Leo only when he came to Washington. When did you come to Washington, Leo?
I came to Washington after Juilliard. I went to college early, and I was finished with my bachelor's degree by the time I was 20. And I was kind of thinking, what do I do now? I've played everywhere in New York. And my teacher, Dorothy DeLay, said to me, I just had a call from Danny Heifetz, the great violinist. They were having auditions for graduate assistantships at University of Maryland. And so she said, you know, it's a wonderful opportunity because you get to study with a great violinist and the famous Guarneri Quartet, and it will pay for your grad school and give you a salary. And so I auditioned and I got the assistantship, and that's what brought me to this area. And I guess this area, it's like a black hole. Once you're here, it's hard to get away. And I've been here ever since.
Oh, that's wonderful. Now, you mentioned two teachers of yours. I think I'm correct to say that your mother was your first violin teacher.
Yes, she was back in Leningrad.
Okay, so you were born in Leningrad, Russia, where I was also born, but we didn't know each other there.
No.
Can we play our first YouTube piece where you and your mom, I guess it's back in Leningrad,
It was actually in New York. we used to tour together as a duo.
Oh,
When I was a teenager, and from the early teens, like from about 12, 11, we used to perform together all the time.
Okay, I didn't know that. Can we play this first YouTube where Leo and his mom playing Wieniawski piece? Bravo, bravo. A beautiful, beautiful performance. Now, you mentioned your another significant person in your life, your teacher, Dorothy DeLay, who was incredible violin teacher in Juilliard School and who worked with so many wonderful musicians, including Itzhak Perlman, Nadia Salerno Sonnenberg, Shlomo Mintz, and Gil Shahan, and many others. I've heard the name. I never met the woman. I know her products. What can you tell us about your experience working with such a wonderful teacher?
Well, I got to know her when I was 13 because that's when I first came to the Juilliard pre-college division. And it was a push from my mom because I was studying with her at the Mannes College and I wasn't motivated enough. And so she thought, well, let me give him a kick, I guess, in the butt, so to speak, and send him to Juilliard. And so I auditioned and I got in. And suddenly I was around kids like Gil Shaham and Midori and all these incredible musicians. And I was exposed to a much higher level of playing, which inspired me to practice much more and to strive to be a better musician. So, and certainly Dorothy DeLay attracted the best talent that was around during those days. And so she was a wonderful lady, very smart, and she pointed you in the right direction. And she helped you along the way, but you had to figure it out. You know, she would not spoon feed anybody. So she would tell you what you've got to work on and what you need to do, but it was up to you to do it. So she made one thing.
It's so interesting because I just read a quote from Itzhak Perlman, who basically said exactly the same thing you said, that she never made you do things the way she wanted to do. She wants you to figure it out yourself. And
exactly, she would always, if you say something to her, she would actually, you know, she could have been Jewish in that way because she always answered with a question. And so she made you think about it.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Tell us a little bit about your experience at age of 12 when you got on Marvin Hamlisch special on Showtime.
Well, I found out about it from Mannes. They were doing auditions for kids for the Marvin Hamlisch Showtime special. And it was a big special. It had Liza Minnelli on it and a whole slew of celebrities. And they were going to do a portion. The opening of the show was going to be sort of like a fake past video of Marvin being at Juilliard. And so it was going to be filmed in black and white. And they filmed it at the Manhattan School of Music, which is around Columbia University, which used to be the old Juilliard. And so several kids auditioned, and there were 3 kids actually who picked, a flutist, myself, and a little kid who played Marvin Hamlisch. And so we all 3 got to play, and the kid who was Marvin, he actually had to talk a little bit, and he said things like, oh, my mom wants me to practice the piano. She wants me to play these classical pieces, but I have these notes in my head. And he would play a melody of Marvin Hamlisch, and you'd hear a voice from the other room going, Marvin, that's not Beethoven. And so it was a very fun experience, and it was a great opportunity, and certainly a lot of people saw it, and it was a pleasure to get to know Marvin Hamlisch, who was a fascinating person and an amazing composer.
Great. Another famous name in your resume is Isaac Stern. And it says that you had the opportunity to be coached by him.
That was an opportunity that came later in life when I was already living in Washington. I had a mentor, a great lady named Catherine Filene Schaus. You know, most people who live in this area should know her because she built and founded Wolf Trap. And she became a mentor of mine for a number of years. And she was getting up in years, and she wrote Isaac Stern a letter. And she said to him that she met this wonderful violinist who thinks that could benefit a lot from knowing him. And for her birthday, would he make the time to listen to me? And so he said, of course. And so I traveled to New York, and I met Isaac Stern, and it continued you know, I studied with him for a while, which was an amazing experience because there's nobody that has so much love and determination and ideas about what to do with music like Isaac Stern. You know, it really was a language for him, and it was a great learning experience.
That's
just
wonderful.
in terms of how to become a thinking musician.
It's interesting that we talked about your mom and my mom, who was a violin teacher, and she had a beautiful ensemble in New York, in Harlem, and it was subsidized and patronized by a lot of famous musicians, and one of them was Isaac Stern too. And so my mom always had a picture of her together with Isaac Stern, and it's just hanging on the wall. So that was one more things we have in common.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I would like to know of your experience playing with New York Philharmonic. Was it under baton of Zuban Mehta?
Well, it was supposed to be under the baton of Zuban Mehta. Well, because the concert was supposed to be conducted by him, but the week before the performance, he canceled the rest of his season because it was found out he needed to have an elbow operation.
Okay.
And so it wasn't for any reason that he had a medical condition that he had to take care of. And so he had to bow out for the rest of the New York Philharmonic season. So unfortunately, I missed the opportunity to play with him, yeah.
Okay, that's wonderful, but still great opportunity. Well, I think we're ready for the second musical piece. And that will be a piece by Vivaldi from his Four Seasons, Spring. Beautiful, just beautiful. The way you create your program is very unusual. I've been at many of your concerts throughout all these years. You're not only a wonderful artist presenting the music, but also an inspiring educator who introduces each piece with usually unknown facts about the composer or the piece itself, and always with great sense of humor. How did you came up with such technique?
By accident. I was at an evening, it was kind of a bohemian evening at somebody's house, and everybody had to entertain. You know, somebody played a piece, somebody sang a song, played the guitar. I didn't have my violin with me. And so it was my turn to entertain. So I got up and I told some jokes. And people said, "You're really good at telling jokes." And so I thought, well, why not incorporate, you know, storytelling and speaking into concerts? Because one of the things I realized is, when do we listen and really pay attention carefully and make more of an effort at a concert, is when we hear friends or somebody we know perform. So I thought, what a wonderful experience it would be to have the artists tell stories and really share part of themselves with the audience, so you get to know incredible music, but also the artists playing with you. So which would make for a deeper musical experience, and kind of developed. And it crossed into other genres, into jazz and opera and ballet and modern dance, spirituals, just pretty much everything, as well as traditional musical classical fare. So it's been great fun. You know, I feel like Willy Wonka. You know, every concert has a different atmosphere and different flavor and different jokes and stories. I kind of try to let the audience know about the music, but the inquirer version.
I felt like it also makes audience relax, because sometimes when you go to concert hall, you feel just a little uptightness. But at your concert, everybody is relaxed because you just let them do that. Tell us about your chamber group, National Chamber Ensemble. Your new season, which we saw right before the opening of our program, will start in 2 days, on Saturday. And how this season will be different from all other seasons?
My goodness, it's almost like a holiday we were talking about. What makes this night different from all other nights?
That's right.
But, well, this season, everybody's kind of stuck in one place. And I thought people need an escape. So I named the season European Musical Vacation. So each concert will take the listeners to a different European country and city. And since we can't travel, at least till the new year, all the concerts will be virtual. And from the start of 2021, I guess we'll see if we can go live. But either way, we'll keep the virtual aspect, so people who are not comfortable going live, they can still enjoy the concert from the comfort of their home and in their own time. And each concert is going to be paired with a virtual wine and cheese reception with the artist, sort of like what we're doing now. So after seeing a concert that's recorded for you, people will actually be able to talk to the artists and ask questions and interact.
Well, you should have told me this before. I would invite everybody to bring wine and cheese.
Well, we're doing more than that. You know, we're sending our subscribers some recipes for drinks and or hors d'oeuvres in the flavor of the country that we're going to. Like this coming concert this week is Beethoven in Vienna. So they will get some recipes for some Viennese hors d'oeuvres and drinks to bring to the reception. And how it will work is on Saturday, I will record the concert at a magnificent home of one of our patrons that kind of looks like a Viennese palace. And then the listeners will get the link to see the concert in their own time a week later. And then on November 1st, we're going to have a Zoom virtual wine and cheese reception with myself and my pianist.
Wonderful. Just tell our listeners, how many years have been since you began this chamber ensemble, because you were the founder. You started that.
Yes, this is our 14th season. You know, I used to travel a lot and tour, and I wanted to do something close to home and for my own community. And because I've established a lot of friendships with wonderful artists all over, and especially in this area, I wanted to start a series, which was kind of a society of internationally acclaimed musicians who all live in this area. And so I get to put them in various combinations depending on the kind of music we're playing. And we get together and we have great fun. We tell stories, we play incredible music. And during the years, we also incorporated using multimedia images in the concerts. And so it's been a wonderful learning experience and also incredible administrative experience. You know, I feel like I've been going to a nonprofit college for the last 14 years.
You
learn how to run an organization.
Yeah, you definitely learn a lot.
Right.
Wonderful. I think we're getting close to the third YouTube. I just would like to introduce this piece. It's written by Claude Bolling. And for those who don't know that composer, he's contemporary French composer and jazz pianist who wrote a lot of very interesting music. I first heard his famous pieces. He wrote suite for violin, he wrote suite for classical guitar and jazz piano, and suite for flute and jazz piano, where he incorporated some classical element and jazz elements. And it comes so unprepared, or suddenly you're listening to classical music, which turns into jazz music, and then in complete opposite. So I was really a big fan of his starting in the early 80s, 1980s. So Claude Bolling, we're gonna listen to a suite for violin and jazz piano. And we're going to start from the middle of the piece, because it's a lengthy piece.
Yeah, can I just add one thing?
Please.
That this particular piece was dedicated to the violinist Pinka Zuckerman.
Yes.
It was written for him, and he was the first one who recorded it, and it was a hit album.
Yeah, I have his LP. I have LP with Pinka Zuckerman. Okay, we're ready for that. Wonderful, bravo.
Thank you.
Wonderful. What a technique at the end. A lot of notes.
And did you see the hop? That was the hardest thing.
Wonderful. All right, I would like to change a little bit the topic. I mean, we were talking about your history, upbringing, schooling, but our topic today is music and spirituality. What is connection between those two words?
Well, for me, music can be a doorway into spirituality, because that's a way to kind of go inward so that you can go outward and have a connection to, I guess, something beyond yourself and something greater than yourself. Connection to the world, something that will make you experience or feel things that you didn't think was possible. You know, in a way, music helps that pathway to spirituality, because it can awaken things within yourself that you didn't know you had access to. And I think in many ways, as a performer, you try to share that with the audience and make them experience things that they didn't know they could feel.
Wonderful, good. The second question kind of leads from your answer. As an artist, what are your goals? Because we all have goals when we're preparing to play a concert or to be at the performance. What goals you set for yourself before you getting ready for your program of the concert?
Well, part of it is technical, because like an Olympic athlete, you have to be able to execute the music. And then after that, you have the job of a musical storyteller. You know, it's no different than if you were an actor doing a play. You know, once you learn the lines, then you have to do something with it. And my job is to bring the music to life and to make or help the audience feel and imagine things that, you know, I can hear, and really give them insight into the music. And that's for me is the most fun part of it, the communication with the audience. You know, the direct energy that's coming out from you and sharing something magnificent and beautiful and sometimes funny and fun. And, you know, that's what gives me great energy and great joy, and hopefully to the audience as well.
Wonderful. So how do you create connection with your listeners? I mean, you said, does every concert, every program is different, or how does it work?
Well, of course it's different, because the theme is different, the music is different, the period of the composers are different. So the stories change, you know, the way you interpret the music changes. You know, our next concert, it's all Beethoven. And, you know, it's going to a completely different era of music. And so you kind of have to lock into and communicate that style. And then on top of that, you have to add your own personal insight into it. You know, especially for me, it's been very, very difficult because doing a whole concert of Beethoven with the COVID environment and no concert since last March, it's been building up stamina because, as you know, Beethoven has got a lot of notes, and on top of a lot of notes, they've got a lot of drama and power, and there are many notes. So it's been quite a job, you know, picking up the stamina again. And the fact that, you know, one has to get dressed up again. For our concert, I've been walking around in shorts and a t-shirt since last March. I had to dress up again. That was difficult.
Like most of us, most of us, everybody in the same. Can you recall special moments in your career when you were moved spiritually?
I think it's happened several times, but I think the last time it happened this past December when I went to Berlin to perform concerts for New Year's. And for me, it was just a magical time, because when I first arrived in Berlin, before I got to perform, I got to go to the Berlin Philharmonic, and I got to see my mom conduct Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. And it was an amazing performance. And I have not seen my mom conduct in many years live. So that was just a spellbinding performance. And it really moved me, you know, because it was my mom, but also because how she brought the music to life. And then several nights later on New Year's Eve, I was performing in this beautiful cathedral. And I was playing the slow movement of Winter from the Four Seasons, and the sparkling lights, the beauty of the music and the acoustics. It just created such a magical atmosphere that, you know, I was playing at the same time I was transported into like almost like a magical land. And that was a very moving and I could say spiritual experience for me. You know, almost like an out-of-body experience. You kind of feel like you're floating, and there's all this magic around you. So it didn't happen too long ago.
Okay, all right. Well, so you would say not every performance or every time you play or you listen, you get that experience.
I think you have moments when that happens. Some moments last longer than others.
All right, that's very good. I can mention for myself that I had something like that many years ago when I was still living in New Jersey, and at that time I was going to a concert in New York City, and at one of them it was actually after long repair of Carnegie Hall. It was, which lasted 2 or 3 years. And they did everything anew. And the opening night was Itzhak Perlman playing solo violin on the stage of Carnegie Hall. And he had the music in front of him. And they probably redid their air conditioning system. And when he was playing unaccompanied Bach, suddenly the flow of air condition, the flow of air just moved all his papers from his music stand, and they just flew to the floor. He didn't miss a beat. He was continuing playing until he finished. And there was silence for, I don't know, maybe 20 seconds, 30 seconds, long silence. And then everything erupted, everything erupted. It was a moment of spiritual just the whole thing was so moving, just unbelievable. And the other time I felt it standing on the edge of Grand Canyon, just feeling this awesome nature and beauty of, of God's creation. And I never seen anything in my life like that. And that was a feeling of awe, spirituality, and whatever you can call it. But those are very wonderful moments. What kind of music moves you?
I think whatever music I'm playing at the moment has to move me, because I have to kind of bring it to life and then communicate it to the listener. My own preference, I love music of the Romantic era. I love music that has virtuoso aspects. I love music that has drama. I love music that has charm. So probably the Romantic period is my favorite. But I love all of them because they all have their joys and their charms. And so it certainly makes my life more interesting.
One more question. So you were raised all in classical music. And then later in your life, you added to this classical music different genres, different types of music. Like we just heard the jazz, and I'm sure you're playing all kinds of other music, which is not necessarily common thing. I would say most of the classical musicians are not comfortable going out of their comfortable zone. How did this transition work for you?
For me, it worked really well because I guess I have that adaptability. I really enjoyed it. There were some performances I got to do with Smokey Robinson and with Natalie Cole and some other pop performers, and I really enjoyed those too. For me, those were actually less pressured performances, because when you're playing classical music, it's technically a little bit more demanding. It's really a high wire act. And so you're much more exposed. So when you were playing and there are a lot of drums and a lot of instruments and the music is really loud, it's kind of a different atmosphere, but it was just as fun. You can kind of let loose even more sometimes.
Okay, very good, very good. I'll let you introduce the last YouTube video which we have, and for many Washington Hebrew members, it will be very good to see this piece, because you will see the familiar place. I'm not going to tell you which one. You'll see it in a second. And probably at this times of us sitting home will be probably a little bit nostalgic to see this. But please introduce your last selection.
Sure, it was actually an encore we performed, and it's a very famous song called Smile. Smile by Charlie Chaplin. Most people don't know that Chaplin was quite a composer, and he wrote most of the scores for his own movies. And Smile, became a very famous song. And I think a lot of artists have recorded the song. It's become a favorite and a hit. And we kind of, for that concert, created our own jazzy arrangement of Smile, which we got to play in a familiar surroundings. So it was a really warm and just the perfect way to end the concert.
Okay, let's see it.
Enjoy.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Just beautiful.
Yeah, it was great fun. I just want to say, and that was the great Carlos Rodriguez at the piano, and Leland Nakamura playing drums, and Ephraim Woolfolk on bass, all members of the National Chamber Ensemble. So
Okay, fantastic. Well, Leo, that has been a wonderful, wonderful, almost an hour talking to you. I learned a lot, even knowing you well and hearing you at many concerts of your yearly series. I hope some of our listeners will be able to join you for your program. And in a few minutes, we will put back the program for the whole year. But before that, I would like to ask Rich to put another picture which we have, and I'll tell them who is there. Okay, so this is a picture after one of your concerts, and you can see my wife on the right, and then Leo, and then next is Julius Milkes, who will be our next artist in a series of music and spirituality on November 5th. And of course, it's me there. So I enjoy our friendship and our time knowing each other for a long time. And Leo has been at Washington Hebrew on numerous occasions, playing for Slichot concert and different other programs. And I hope that connection will only continue and be stronger and stronger. And
can I say just one thing, Misha? I think you did a beautiful job leading this program together. And in this new phase of your life, I think, since there's no Mr. Rogers, I think you're fully in position to take over.
Okay, so they're not gonna fire me after the first time, right? That's
absolutely
good.
Not.
All right, I'm looking forward to this continuation of this mini series. Thank you so much, Leo, and maybe
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, maybe we'll open up a little bit if anybody would like to ask you a question or so. Yes,
I would love to have more information, Leo, on the concert. I'd love to go to Vienna with you.
Okay.
And all around Europe. So I'd love to have more information and how we might participate in it.
Okay. Well, you have all the information on our website, which is nationalchamberensemble.org. And since this season is going virtual, so you can enjoy the concerts from anywhere you are, it kind of opens up our performances to people who live anywhere, whether they live around the corner or they live on a different continent. So it would be great to have you join us. Thank you.
Thank you. This was wonderful. Just such a special hour we spent with you. Thank you so much. Your music is wonderful and your commentary is equally wonderful. The combination is just so perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you to Misha for having me.
Yes, Misha.
Absolutely. We'll see you all on the next in November. Thank you, Leo.
Take care. Have a good night.